name's Natalie Quaterbass.
I'm Henry Raby.
And together we are Vandal Factory. Yes, that's right, folks. Thank you. Thank you so much, Greenbelt. We have been having an amazing festival. Have you been having an amazing festival as well? Are you feeling inspired? Are you feeling nourished? Are you feeling angry and hopeful?
The revolution starts on Monday.
Yeah.
Bank holiday Monday.
Awesome. We are so happy to be here. As we said before, we're a podcast that talks about arts and activism. We love all kinds of art.
I'm a poet, theatre maker, and facilitator of workshops. And as you can see by my shorts, a punk. Yeah. I thought they would get more reaction than that. They're used to it. Yeah, we're all punks too. Are you all punks?
On a Wednesday to Saturday, you're a punk, and then yeah, it's a state of mind. It's
Sunday's day off.
I'm pretty punk as well, as you can tell by my floaty lemon dress. No, mine is Natalie, and I'm a theatre director. Work a lot in communities, and also do. I'm doing a PhD in theatre and environmental justice.
Ooh.
If you want to hear about that, you can check out
Billy Big Brain
the podcast. On the Vandal Factory podcast, we love to talk about hope and anger as two fuels that get all kinds of artists and all kinds of activists out of their bed in the morning doing the amazing work that they're doing. So we check in at the beginning of every episode and say, how's your hope? How's your anger, Henry?
Hope is really high at the moment. I'm feeling really hopeful.
Good.
Just because, at this festival, there's loads of people that just want to have a little natter to you in the toilet queue.
Oh, that's nice.
That's nice.
Isn't that, I love that we've been hearing talks and acts about inspiring, revolutionary, changing the world stuff. But you're like, oh, it's nice when people chat to you in the queue at the loo.
It's making little friends.
That's nice.
Little friendships.
Having a little natter.
My highlight, if you're asking, my highlight was Bob Vylan last night. What an incredible hour set. And he did a thing when Bobby, the lead singer, was running up like this, up and down the stage. Oh, I can't do that. I'm too old and knacked.
Yeah, I was trying,
Impressive.
but my legs were like lead. But my goodness, in terms of anger and bringing your anger on stage and then punching the audience with it. Oh, it was
Audience were battered by angry
hopeful
bangers.
Rage. I am so impressed and always love any acts that can bring their anger and shove it in your face. I love it.
What about you, Natalie? How's your hope? How's your anger?
I'm feeling my anger is fueled up. Anger doesn't need to be destructive, right? It's an energy and it needs to go somewhere. So I am feeling very nourished with my anger from this festival, and my hope for something new is so high. I was going to say Bob Vylan, so you've stolen my thing. Oh, Disraeli. Did anyone else check out Disraeli yesterday? Incredible scenes and the most transcendent, amazing, beautiful act of the whole festival we have got for you here today. Ooh. Did anyone else see Lunatraktors?
Yeah.
Oh, incredible. Yeah, that's right. We are going to be joined by the amazing folk duo Lunatraktors, and they're going to be bringing all their hope and anger and doing a little performance, having a little chat with us later on. But before we do that,
we'd like to know, what's your hope and anger, audience of Greenbelt Festival? How's your hope? How's your anger? What's making you hopeful for a better world? What's making you angry that things are blocking that and getting in the way?
And yes, we are going to come and ask you. So has anyone got any ideas? Anything you'd like to share with us?
We've got radio mics!
Oh, here they come.
If you tell us, you'll get a free zine, actually.
Oh, yeah, that's a good thing. So Henry made these amazing zines that are quotes from people we've interviewed in our first 6 episodes. He's put them together, and if you're brave enough to give us a short, snappy reason why you're hopeful or angry or both, then you will get a free zine. Anyone? Yes, lots of hands. Lovely.
How's your hope? How's your anger?
My hope is that some point in the future, people will be able to open up more about mental health and find a way to, be able to, figure out a way to be able to, deal with mental health issues and be able to fit into society as a result of that. Yeah.
That's wonderful.
Can we get a big round of applause?
Thank you so
Thanks so much,
That
mate.
is absolutely an extremely hopeful hope. We had someone over here as well, Henry.
Oh, go on.
I'll go. Hello, what's your name and where'd you come from? And you don't have to answer that. But
Anybody under 25 doesn't get that reference.
Yeah, I have noticed that in workshops actually. How's your hope? How's your anger?
I'm honestly feeling like I've been feeling pretty hopeful the past few days, and I think it's like a specific example of the hope of Greenbelt is that the hope and anchor, aptly named, was destroyed by wind on the first night, and then by like 6 p.m. they had it back up, and that was like really inspiring to me.
We can rebuild. We can regrow. That is such a fantastic example. Thank you so much. Give them a round of applause. Any more? We can do one more. Yeah, we've got loads. Oh, I'm going to Tiger Hat over here. Thank you so much, Tiger Hat. I can't not say, what's your name and where'd you come from? But you don't have to answer. How's your hope? How's your anger?
So, my hope is that Labour will actually deliver on their promises on the green energy.
Yeah, we're going to keep the pressure on, aren't we? We did a podcast a few episodes just after the general election, and we titled it "Don't Let Your Guard Down."
Don't let your
Don't
guard
let your
down!
guard down. That's my angry and hopeful vibe at the moment with the government. Don't let your guard down. We've got our eyes on you.
If you didn't get a zine, you can just have one.
Yeah. Also,
Just come on, just
that's
just
it. There's
come
some
and
more
grab
people. Lovely. Come join
more
us.
people.
Welcome. We're going to start again now. So my name's Natalie. We're from Vandal
name's
Factory.
Henry.
We're doing Arts and Activism
Active
podcast.
activism.
That'll do.
Shall we crack on?
Do you want to do your own thing?
I'm going to do my own thing, so
I know I'm going to introduce you.
Right.
So usually when we're recording in the studio, we have jingles. We haven't brought them along today, but we want you to join in with the jingles. So Henry is an only child. I've worked very hard on him over the last 10 years of friendship to teach him things like offering people a cup of tea or learning how to play shared board games.
Get your own tea.
But generally he likes doing his own thing.
Yeah.
So we call this feature where Henry gets to perform one of his poems. He's doing his own thing. In fact, that's your jingle, right? Oh, man, we've got our friend Joms here who recorded the original jingle that you're all going to go and check out on the podcast. So I'm going to give you the mic and you're going to lead it.
Okay, folks, it's time for Henry. He's doing his own thing.
Me, Edward, for in stage. Right, this is a newish poem. I'm still bumbling through it, but I need your help, audience of Greenbelt, at the Rebel Rouser stage. I'm going to say, please remind me that, and you're going to shout back as loud as you can so that we annoy the Glade stage and they complain about the nosebleeds. Hope drowns last. We'll give that a go. Please remind me that hope drowns last. Excellent. I'm going to do the poem. There's another little practice in it, and then we'll crack on with it. So, it starts off exactly like this. If you want to pay your union dues, you visit Jesse Lopez de la Cruz. Now, Jesse was an activist, organizer, trade unionist for the farm workers in California. In 1983, Jesse was documented as declaring hope dies last. Now, today, California is wild with fire. The sunshine scalds, and the UK is red with weather warnings. I want to take Jesse's talk and twist it. So I'm going to ask you, please remind me that, and you're going to say, hope drowns last, because we're going to be inspired going into the future, dragging the past. Please remind me that.
Hope drowns last.
We didn't heed the warnings. Turns out, young adult fiction, The Hunger Games, more than just a prediction. I've been training my whole life for dystopia. So here's my advice to you. When the citadels of the CEOs rise up to the heavens and they toss rockets off into space from our Earth rock, it's time to take the upper class, the rich, to task. Please remind me that hope drowns last. Cut to the future. the breakdown age. We're running out of supplies and space in the caves. Our enemies are coming in the form of literal waves. I'd call it a last stand, but I'm actually really tired. I just need to sit down. Mad Max took the wrong turn. Robin Hood drowned. If you're holding out for a hero, can you just hold on over there? I'm telling all the kids about polar bears. I'm telling them all about birds and bees and flowers, because chatting about the old days helps pass the couple of hours. I'm not built for this doomsday lark. Someone should have made a start on an ark. Ringing in the caves are goes, surely this too must pass. Please remind me that hope drowns last. I joined in my own chorus then, was very excited. When borders are broken down, both literal and in the mind, when safe passage is just simply fine, when we plant more trees than we take, and the last fascist admits he made a big mistake, when the lessons in resilience that we learn from the Palestinians is embedded in every form of disobedient celebration, when we run out of roads to block and blowing up a pipeline blows up on TikTok, when the 1% gets shot straight to the moon, maybe justice will be within our soggy grasp. Please remind me that hope drowns last. When tomorrow comes to test me, I know the spirit of Jesse won't have left me. With you lot beside me, I'll do a call response and we'll change the world all at once. When you stop dancing on tables, when you stop singing in greenhouses, when you stop making bonfires, when you stop gobbing poetry, when you stop singing, when you stop making, when you stop dancing, when you stop gobbing, one last time, please remind me that.
Rounds last.
Greenbelt, give yourselves a round of applause.
It's all right, isn't it? It's all right. Sometimes it is worth letting him do his own thing. So it pays off.
Oh,
that was lovely.
I think we should get some friends on stage.
Yeah, let's get on new friends. Oh,
New
God,
friends?
That's the real reason why we started a podcast, is so we can make more friends. Why? What else do you do? Go to a protest. That's the other thing that I do. Just go and make
people
friends.
with Black Lodge press bags and try and be friends with them.
Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for the Lunatraktors!
Oh, Lunatraktors!
Feed the birds, tuppence a bag, tuppence, tuppence, tuppence a bag. Feed the birds, tuppence a bag, tuppence, 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 tuppence a bag. All around the cathedral, the saints and apostles look down as she sells her wares. Although you can't see them, you know they are smiling each time someone shows that they care. Though our words are simple and few, listen, listen, she's calling to you. Oh, feed the birds, tuppence a bag, tuppence, tuppence, just tuppence, tuppence, £10 in today's economy. Tuppence, tuppence,
introduce yourselves to our lovely audience and listeners at home. What's your name? I'm gonna do
What's your name? Where'd you come from?
My name's Carli. I am a half of Lunatraktors. I'm
Top half.
What?
The top half.
The top half?
Yeah.
I don't know. No, I think we kind of interchange, really. I'd say I'm a balanced one of the halves.
Where'd you come from?
I come from Essex, although half of my family is from Lancashire. So it's, so I don't know how they attracted each other, but they made me. There you go. Handing over to you quickly.
My name's Clair Le Couteur, Dr. Clair Le Couteur.
Ooh.
A doctor of art. One of the least convincing doctorships. I was born in London. My mum's Australian. My dad's half Irish. And now we moved to Ireland, which is good, so we can follow that Anglo-Celtic thing.
Wonderful. How's the move to Ireland been?
Misty.
Misty, wet. It's very moist there. We thought England was moist, but this is next level. But we're loving it.
Yeah, it's really beautiful.
We had to escape England because as soon as Brexit was actually really happening, and there was no
we were
adults
clinging on,
coming
thinking,
to stop
surely,
it.
surely
it's gonna-
now someone's gonna.
Somebody's going to step in,
Surely
aren't they?
now,
and go, no, let's actually be sensible about this. But nobody was being sensible.
Surely
in the
it
end,
was
so
an
we decided
advisory
just to leave
referendum,
the
like you
country,
told us.
unfortunately.
And also,
You shouldn't speak at the same time, probably. I think that's generally quite difficult for people to understand. Okay, you go.
what am I going to do?
Just say anything.
Say something. We started a band.
Well, speaking of Brexit, the referendum, you guys formed the year after, in 2017.
Yes.
That's right.
Yeah.
And reading the old bio, I've just done a poem about the apocalypse. You wanted to be broken folk when the world is ending and there's nothing left, and you just have your bodies as instruments. Like, was that the case, or is that just what?
Yeah,
you put
we
on the
had.
bio
We
for
were
fluff?
having a chat about what happens. We were talking about iPods and how that moment in about 2005 when your iPod just with thousands of hours of music just suddenly turns into a useless brick, and having that experience when the power goes out at festivals and then everyone's on stage like.
And everybody has to wait because we can't entertain ourselves. I mean, we can. We know what to do now. We have our bodies
Which did
always,
happen
and our
yesterday.
voices.
There was a power
Indeed.
cut,
did
wasn't
happen.
there?
Just before we
Site-wide.
were going to go on, actually.
Yeah.
But it was
And
like,
that would have
it's
been
okay.
fine for you. That would have
it
been.
would
You
have
were
been fine.
Bring it
prepared.
on.
We wouldn't have had the synth, but you
So
know,
we
at the
wanted. So
best.
we were having this conversation about post-apocalyptic folk music and what if all of your stuff gets nicked, what have you got in your body? And obviously Carli's a tap dancer, so you've
Well,
got
that's
a
not
lot.
obvious at all right now,
Well, I
is
mean,
it?
You
That's the
can
least
tell,
obvious
I
of
think,
all
from
the
at
things. I
least
just walked up
50
here with a
yards away
stick.
that you're a tap dancer.
Well,
She's not a
yeah.
vegetarian, though.
I'm not
A
a
lot of people
vegetarian,
think
even
that
though I
she is,
maybe look like one.
because she dresses
We're
like a hippie.
veering. Stop veering. So, yeah, the post-apocalyptic question, I mean, I think it just keeps coming, doesn't it? And it's been coming for so many decades, possibly even more than decades now, of people going, oh, so surely this has got to be the bottom now. This has surely got to be as bad as it can get. And then we
This
kind of
really isn't.
find
This
new
is great,
levels of
comparatively.
terrible, no?
Yeah.
And I think we're kind of on a really massive one right now and not really knowing what quite we do with that.
Yeah,
So,
I think it's been a theme in a lot of the talks and acts that I've witnessed as I'm floating around the festival is conversations about trauma, about our mental health, about how we regulate our nervous systems, how do we function and relate to each other and come together in a place like this, come together in our communities to serve each other and support each other through this life that we're living. That, as you say, is it's very easy to normalize it and think this is normal when our bodies and our souls and our mind are going, this isn't normal. This doesn't make
absolutely.
sense.
And the kind of that, I think also that culture of that kind of, right, we'll just keep grin and bear it, just keep going. That we can't just keep pushing through this. And I think that takes us back every time, however much we expand the band in terms of, different sounds and going a little bit more trippy and weird and more danceable. It's about what that somatic feeling is. It's about that body and how we process as living, breathing, organic bodies. What is too much information? What is just too much devastation happening in the world? for human bodies, for human creatures to really be able to fathom, comprehend, and process. I mean, there's just no chance.
Yeah.
And
So-
I guess that's what I wanted to say about the hope and anger thing, that expressing hopefulness is also somehow as difficult as expressing anger socially sometimes. You know, that people are like, oh, that's not cool. You can't be talking utopian. That doesn't make any sense. And I think for us, like, the way that we like to deal with those feelings of grief as well as hope and anger is through performance, because you can kind of, if you find the right form, then it expresses it and it shares it with other people, but it also nourishes you, and your processing of it through the performance helps them also join you in that processing, that kind of transformation of energy into something which is actually exciting and enjoyable and uplifting, which is not easy to do with anger in other ways.
And I think that was so much what I got from your set yesterday. You know, I've listened to all your music recorded, but the experience of seeing you live and seeing you use your bodies as musical instruments, that you are the living, breathing. I felt like at times my breath was in sync with yours, and that somatic, as you say, the somatic movement. You're thumping and tapping and jumping, and it's very connected, a very connected performance.
We're very popular with toddlers. Big and small.
And something I just thinking now, like rock and roll is sort of meant to be about excess and pushing your body as far as it can go. And
oh, I definitely did that. Don't you worry.
So, but
I did
you must
plenty
be
of that.
Slightly too far.
But you must be very in tune with what your body can do. You must have to look after it, or are you?
You have to tune into it at a certain point in your life. I'm 40. I've just turned 46, and I'm noticing that vast difference of how I was in my very hedonistic 20s, performing around the world, massive stages, madness. 30s, you start to like maybe modulate a little bit, but until I was really broken and suffering with hardcore PTSD and just going, okay, enough, I had to then go, right, I've got to make significant changes, like to be able to go on, to be able to continue to dance. I have to have my my broken, ridiculous foot operated on, you know, to find a new way through that, because you can't just go back to how you were doing it before. So you have to transform something.
And that, sorry, go on.
I was just going to say that actually that also requires hopefulness. I think it's very easy to think, oh, I can just live in the now and I don't have any sense of the future. And so I don't need to plan for the future, and I don't need to protect my body for the future. I can just experience what I can experience in this moment, and that's enough, because you don't, you know. And I think also, as for lots of groups of people, but particularly for queer people, that sense of like, oh, I've got a future isn't really easily available to a lot of people. I think for a number of reasons, and I think it's also absolutely, you know, I mean, I have no understanding, of course, of that experience, being very white, but for people who aren't white, then I think that sense of a hopeful future is also very difficult to imagine. And so I think a lot of us are very good at living in the moment, which makes beautiful art as well. But I do think that we need to be really making that effort to think in a utopian way together, because otherwise it's difficult to go, oh, pensions, yeah, let's put a lot of time and energy and let's figure out what to do with that. You know, I think a lot of people just don't have that. They're just not looking towards the future, and I think it's hard to do that.
I think hope is an action. Often, it's building something now for the future, so it's not just a dream or a wish or a vision. It is practical steps to try and build a world now that is better for ourselves when we're older, or the next generation, or our neighbours beside us. But you have contributed to the podcast before on our disability activism special, which you can all check out wherever you get your podcasts. Please save and subscribe and leave us a comment. And that was a beautiful song that the name is...
Unquiet Grave.
Unquiet Grave. Oh,
yes,
man alive.
It is
How
a
many
bit of a
times did
sad
you
song,
cry
that is
yesterday
true.
during
Yesterday,
that performance?
that song broke me.
I actually nearly started crying when I was singing it yesterday because everybody in the audience was giving me so much. Because I've sung that song hundreds of times now, but there was a line that I was like, I'm not sure if I can finish this line.
Yeah, it was really deeply moving. Could you talk about the role of activism in your work, and particularly that song?
I don't know how much I could feel justified calling myself an activist, but all of our feelings about the world and the important things to talk about are in the music, and we talk about them very openly, and we talk about how they make us feel, and I guess that's a kind of activism, but I don't, we're not like out of protests all the time and all that kind of stuff.
No, I think for me it's been as a dancer, as a choreographer, as a clown. Those were kind of my first steps as a human. I feel like always that activism has been about connecting, and somehow connecting to the weirdness of being an empath and a very quite highly too sensitive being.
You can smell everything.
So I can smell
for
fucking thousands of miles. Do you know what I mean? And then I can feel everybody else's stuff. So, like, orienting and navigating those feelings, I think that then that's why I've been on stage since I was just so tiny, because that was kind of the place where I could have some kind of dialogue and touch and make connection to the people that were there.
And also that you can just do really intense things without freaking people
and process really weird shit in a clownish way that then was made it kind of okay, even though sometimes it was maybe too weird. Or you come out of a show and you realise you're in really, really heavy processing because you've actually been in a kind of shamanic way in some aspect, holding space for everybody as they process stuff. So when you're there having a lot of emotion, like, because people will come to shows and cry 3 or 4 times and then maybe find that they're hysterically laughing
and throw up,
because it's a kind of double. It's this weird double act of a kind of vaudevillian. It's a kind of bit of an old form what we do in a way, just standing and singing a song like two proper weirdos. But people can then kind of get inside that because they feel like we're not so inhibited. So then they get to let go, and then they find, there's loads of emotions in me because I was off guard for a minute. No,
but also because there's a narrative.
Up.
Like, the great thing about a narrative is that you know that you're not stuck, you're not trapped in the feeling. I think that's the beautiful thing about narrative, about being told stories and about having performances and music, is that, and also traveling, is that sense of, I may have this really intense feeling, but I'm not trapped in it forever. I know that I'm traveling through that space and into other places. And I think that's also very hopeful. I think that sense of motion is really important.
Oh, we've been talking about that so much recently, feeling feelings as clouds that are moving, they're continuous, they're different shapes, it is processing. You're not stuck or clinging onto a thing.
You use the sort of music vibe of 1800s, sort of classic traditional folk, but you take it, you twist it, you punkify it, make it modern. So Unquiet Grave is a very old, 100-year-old tune, but you've made it relevant to, just for context, about being fit to work, the DWP.
That whole scandal with
we didn't mention any of that, so thanks for pulling us back to the actual question.
So do you take, for this hopefulness and this processing, do you find that you are going back to that? We talked about before about post-apocalyptic and what happens when the iPod dies. Do you take solace and comfort in a much more rootsy way of life, of a simpler way? Do you enjoy that?
Can't take any of that shit with us when we go, can we? We're just bodies that die in the end of it, and whatever happens to the rest, I couldn't claim to be an atheist, but we're here in quite a Christian context right now, and so there's a certain system of belief about a thing, but there is a faith that we're all returning at least to this messy earth, and that feels a much safer place to make what we can and to make some kind of, I think that's why there's this deep, amazing coming together for people as well now, no? That bringing, like, going, we're all here, what can we do? Because it just seems so dire, because we've gone so far now.
And we've lost those traditional sort of harvest festivals. I mean, when I say we, 200 years ago, but people would come together a lot more around Midsummer.
That's why they
and-
kept trying to ban them all the time. Particularly the Victorians managed to ban a lot of them because they were rowdy, really, really rowdy,
Yeah.
dangerous things.
They were-
But I think the problem with those is it's easy to think, oh, it was a charming harvest festival. It wasn't. It was a hiring fair, and they were not nice places to be. And they would get you drunk and then promise you lower wages, but it's cash in hand, and then everyone walks away with nothing again. And it's like, I feel like it's. I spend a lot of time thinking about old songs, but as a way of thinking about the people. I love a song where it's a person telling a story, their own story. And we're looking more back. I'm going to sing you one in a minute about back to the 1600s and the 1500s, going all the way back. And I think the key thing for me about this sense of like folding time is that the past was absolutely horrific in so many ways, in so many places, but it was always different. It was different in different times and places, in different houses on a street. Some houses are a really beautiful place to be. Other houses are people, where they're really suffering from, you just can't tell. You can't generalize. And I think the thing for me about the past is the more you look at it, the more it helps you see the present in context. And the more it helps you be thankful for all the incredible things that we have and the possibilities that are open to us that just were not open to people in the past. And I think this is the problem with the whole like cottagecore movement. Everyone is familiar with cottagecore trad wife stuff and why it drifts into far right thinking and ethno-nationalism so easily. And that's not for us, That's not for us. We're the children of people who migrated. Both of our families moved around the country. I mean, we're all the children of migrants, right? That's the history of Britain. And I guess the point for us about broken folk is a folk which isn't about some pure connection to the original, authentic past, which
Agrarian
is
folk.
rubbish stuff. Yeah, so that's...
Singing of one song about one person, then other people can kind of lean into that story and go, oh, yeah. I mean, we've had people go, my mother went through exactly that same process of losing her shit and suiciding at the point when all of that was just too much, with all these assessments and all these trying to verify that you are eligible for benefit and all these things. The system is so cruel when it's actually... such human things that we're experiencing. So just the telling of those stories for everyone who can tell those stories allows other people to get inside and feel their shared experiences, because we're all here, no?
And I guess the one thing I'd add to that as well about the historical is we sing a lot of songs straight off the page from hundreds of years ago, and the stories, we choose them because they just seem completely relevant to now. They seem like not to have aged. They seem like a folding in time, a kind of endless contemporaneity. And my feeling about, we rewrite some songs, we write to old tunes or old forms, and we write songs about now, and we sing songs about then folded together, because it's this kind of endless now. People in the 1800s weren't singing folk songs in a kind of ye olde way. They were singing about their experience
somehow
at the time.
simpler or less advanced, just because they didn't have the tech that we have. Do you know what I mean?
They weren't like lacking
people
a sense
were
of irony.
very, very, very intelligent, like thousands of years ago. Like, let's not live with some illusion that because we're here now that
we're
we're the
enlightened
most
in
advanced.
some way. We're totally
That's
not.
ridiculous.
Well, we are here now. Are you here
What a
now?
segue.
Oh, are you here now?
Smooth.
Absolutely. I think it's
Hi.
time to hear another song. Yes, please. Give a round of applause for the Lunatraktors.
So before we sang you a song from a musical, and obviously quite a lot of folkies are a bit sniffy about musicals, musical theatre. Quite a lot of musical theatre people are a bit sniffy about folk music. That's tribalism for you. But we... basically, the song we're about to sing you, called Fortune My Foe, was considered a folk song, but a lot of archival research from many, many diligent people has found that it was actually a show tune from the 1600s. And a lot of show... there's the kind of pathway from like stage musical, singing it in the pubs, 200 years later, still singing it in the pubs. That's the story of this, Fortune My Foe. So we're going to sing it to you now. It was known as the hanging tune because it was so popular at hangings.
That was the banger that you chose.
That's
If you get to choose, I mean, I guess that's also some kind of...
the thing about humans is they fucking love a hanging, don't they?
Yeah.
They love it.
Okay.
Ready?
Yeah. I'm coming
Okay.
I want to be a bit closer.
Snuggle in. All right. Okay. Okay.
To think the any ill will die not in fear, nor live in discontent. Be thou not slain where blood was never meant. Revive again to think thou hast no need. The less afraid, the better thou shalt speed. Well, then will I leave my love in fortune's hands, my dearest love, in most unconstant band, and only serve those sorrows due to me. Hereafter sorrow shall my mistress be. O fortune, my foe, why dost thou frown on me? And will thy favors ever lighter be? Wilt thou, I say, forever breed my pain? And wilt thou not restore my joys again? And wilt thou not? 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 Restore my joys
out. So if anybody does want one, then
Now's
do
the
come
time.
here. Now
Because
is
we
the
sold
time
all the
for
ones
it
we took
after this.
yesterday.
Yeah, yeah,
Amazing.
absolutely. We got a Folk Against Fascism patch yesterday, and I cannot wait. I know exactly what jacket is going to go on.
My anti-fascism jacket. Folks, we're coming into the last part of the podcast. It's another regular feature we have. As Natalie said earlier, she's got a very big brain. She's doing a PhD in theatre and environmental justice, which means we both do a lot of work in communities, and we do a special feature called Nat's Provocation Station, where we discuss what that means to work in community arts and with people, and we need to do the jingle. Is that okay, Natalie?
Yeah, absolutely. So
the jingle is, it's time for Nat's Provocation Station.
Choo choo!
But yeah, we need a train noise. So can you all make a train noise, please? This chat train is pulling into Nat's Provocation Station.
Choo choo! All right, lovely stuff. Thanks very much, everyone. Yeah, so as Henry said, I often try and bring a bit of my creative practice into this section and give some ideas, something about usually what I've been thinking and working on at that time, give it to Henry that we can have a chat about. But I thought I'd bring something from the festival that I've been chewing over. I was actually inspired during your set yesterday and started scribbling notes down in that way that, you know, when you are transcended, when you let your guards down, that's when ideas come to you. And I thought I've been thinking a lot about the phrase solidarity, not charity. We've got a lot of charities around in this festival, and we've got a lot of solidarity as well. So I thought we could think about chewing over the difference between those two phrases. So I was brought up going to a Methodist church. Shout out to Renee Waters, my grandma, is no longer with us. And so charity was a way of life. It was not something that was preached to me. I have no memory of anyone ever saying, oh, this is an important thing to do. But it was just demonstrated. It was taken for granted to be generous and kind, and to keep what you've got to give it all away, that you give with an open, generous heart. And that was a really important part of of my upbringing, and one which I am incredibly grateful for. And as I got older and I found my political boots, I came across this phrase, solidarity, not charity. So we can think about what is the difference. Well, I was writing down some notes yesterday. I was thinking that charity is giving with an open heart and acknowledges that there is someone or people who are less fortunate than you. But it's a short-term solution. It could create a system of dependency. Whereas solidarity acknowledges also there are people less fortunate than you and demands a world where that is not the case. Charity can maintain those structures of inequality, whereas solidarity says, let's burn down the structures and start a new one. If someone is being harassed on a bus because of the colour of their skin, solidarity would step in and put their own safety at risk, whereas charity would wait and ask them if they're okay afterwards. I was thinking about an organisation. We've got friends in York who work with Food Not Bombs, and they give out food to anyone and everyone on a street corner. And there could equally be, on a different street corner, a charity that's doing exactly the same thing. So what's the practical difference? If people are being fed, then what difference does it make if you call one solidarity and another charity? Well, I suggest that solidarity acknowledges there is a problem with the system, that everyone has the right to food, not just those that have, quotations, fallen through the cracks. Solidarity stands shoulder to shoulder and says your injustice is my injustice. Charity could say, I'm sorry for your injustice. Would you like a cup of tea? That's my provocation. Are you provoked? Ooh! So let's have a little chat with the Lunatraktors. Any thoughts to close off? We'll throw to Henry first. Oh, I'm going to change mics. Hang on. Thoughts, Henry?
Yeah, Food Not Bombs was the first time I heard that phrase as well. It's a huge international, well, not even an organisation. It's a collective idea that anyone can start one. There's just one just started off in Leeds where we live. And I suppose like a phrase that I heard recently on a Palestine demo was that solidarity is love made political.
Ooh, nice.
What a phrase. And
remember who said it?
no, but if you go back, well, that means
that means you can take credit for it.
Means you have to go listen to our Palestine Solidarity Special episode 1. And yeah, I think that shoulder to shoulder. Also, we said a little bit that solidarity is almost transactional. When you give us charity, you don't expect anything back. Whereas actually solidarity goes like, we're going to walk arm in arm on this fight. The most famous example maybe is LGBTQ people who stood in solidarity with the miners. And sorry to bang on about the miners' strike. I go on about it all the bloody time.
It's about time.
But like, yeah, I mean, it is 40 years since the miners' strike, and LGSM, Lesbian and Gay Support the Miners, stood in solidarity on picket lines, raised money, but not just money. It was going down and being present. And then the NUM came and marched at Pride, and then had a block vote at the Labour manifesto. So that was, it's an ongoing struggle. And
if anyone hasn't seen the film Pride, Henry watches it every day. It's the end of. I'm always just waiting for him to go. Should we put Pride?
We just watch
on?
Pride. Should we watch it when we get back?
Should we put Pride
back to the tent?
That's
Not again, Henry.
Anyway, so there's an example. There is something of transactional. It's not saying that it is like capitalism where you pay for it, but it involves going, we both have value, we both have strength. How can we collaborate, work together? Anyway, I don't know. There's some thoughts. Hello, Lunatraktors.
No, I completely agree, because I feel like it's about an activation, and that activation is maybe slightly easier or comes more naturally if you come to the world with your intersections as well, so you kind of understand a little bit more of that struggle somehow, so it makes the activation a bit easier. But you put yourself at risk. No, you have to put yourself in a place where you're equally at risk as well. And I think that's, for me, that it's a very easy, and that's about activation of hope, and hope actually being an activation, and that needing more than just sitting and waiting for it to get better. Like we really need to, everybody needs to really engage. And that in this time of incredible violence, when we're seeing people really flare up in response to things, I think there's kind of lies quite a fear in that, I think, for people, and that's possibly why they can't step in and do that. They can't step in and support somebody else when they're in need, if they're being mocked in public. Like we've experienced it recently in certain different contexts and gone, wow, that person actually allowed, they were free to do whatever they wanted there. They really, really put that person down. Other people witnessed, but in moments, you don't necessarily all just have to do it all by yourself. If you can activate as a group in that act of solidarity, then you can all, that has an incredible power just to stand and just to say no collectively against someone who's really kicking off and really isn't throwing out good vibes to anybody. Then that seems to have a power that really sort of disarms them somehow, no? Well, it doesn't have to, and we feel somehow that when we activate, that also has to be about the kind of an aggression, because it's the first impulse somehow, isn't it? Especially when you're really fucking angry. So yeah, it's finding that balance, I think, of
leading on from that, because that's about equality and saying I too am a vulnerable and upset person, and I'm, that you're interacting with somebody not as a kind of, oh, my life is totally fine and you're in need, that kind of thing. And I think, I don't know how many people out there have worked with big charities. Did you have a great time?
That's good. There's some nodding. Okay. Remember, they can't hear the nodding. You need to shout out.
Because I know some people who worked with very big charities and they did not have a very good time. And I think the thing about big charities in particular is they are big colonial era organizations. And the people at the top are very much the people at the top. And the people at the bottom doing the actual charity work for free are in a very different space. And I think the thing is, a lot of those big charities become corporations because they work in that structure. Yeah. They're maybe not for profit, but they are actually, paying their board members a significant amount of money. And I think the thing about solidarity is it's anti-authoritarian. And I think that's the problem with solidarity, is that everything takes a bit longer because you need to have a discussion and people need to agree, rather than you make this kind of
takes ages.
It takes ages, and it's extremely tedious. And then everybody with their own little axe to grind goes, oh, yeah, but you didn't support me in the last meeting, so I'm going to vote no confidence. And you're like, oh, my God. But that is solidarity. And you have to suffer through that. You have to actually go through those systems of group decision-making and egalitarianism and to make solidarity. Otherwise, it's a top-down pyramid structure, and produce all of the resources somehow get sucked up to the top of the pyramid and beamed off into space, where Elon Musk is sitting there in his little satellite, sucking them all in. And then the people who do the work are still people who do working on minimum wage, who are giving their extra time to charity. The charity never gives them anything.
Which is then somehow about that power again, isn't it?
Power.
It's that the people who are in need remain in that feeling of feeling less powerful than the people who are giving them that.
And if they dare complain about the charitable aid that they're getting, oh my goodness.
Biting the hand that feeds you.
Absolutely.
And I suppose, obviously, well, there are charities here, really strong ones, I give to charity, but it's a little bit, we talked about this on our live podcast at Manchester Punk Festival. And someone's got a Manchester Punk Festival
also available wherever you get your podcast. Please save and subscribe and leave a comment.
And we chatted to Liv Winter about, like, in these times of boycotts, like, where does your money go? And it's just being really aware of, like, actually... you can support that charity, but are you just ticking a box going, cool, well, I did that, now to crack on? Or are you, say, putting yourself out there? Where is your money, your energy, and your hope and your rage and your anger going? And
I think it's always important to say, and I'm sure we're all saying it, is that that there's no judgment when I say putting your body on the line or putting yourself at risk. I understand there are 1,001 different reasons why people can't do that. We're not. Everyone's got their own barriers, so you can't judge a person if they're going. We're always looking at the person that's doing more than us and going, oh, am I doing enough? Am I doing enough solidarity? Why am I not the one that's on top of the?
I actually never the other way.
Today?
I look at people doing less than me, and I think, oh, I'm doing great.
Sorry, say again. I was talking over you.
I was just making a joke off.
Oh, everyone else heard it and you didn't.
I
They were
missed it.
laughing at you.
I was going to
That was
say,
it.
no one ever goes,
back.
I'm doing too much solidarity at the moment. Oh, my goodness. Mate, can you just, like, calm it with the solidarity? Because, you're.
We're always looking at that person who's got on top of the shed that's like smashing up the arms dealing
Right, okay.
arms deal shed. That place.
I'm stealing shit.
You've all got them, right? The arms dealing shed. And you go, oh, wow, look at that. So there's always a conveyor belt of everyone comparing themselves. And I think it's always important to say that, like, it's important to look after yourself. But think about these things. And it's a really...
I'm just on the charity thing. I think it's also just, am I allowed to go? Am I allowed to say something else?
Yeah.
I got all inspired.
I'll edit it back.
It's a different thing when a bloke in a suit chucks a quid at a man who's sitting on the floor because he's homeless and doesn't look him in the eye, and somebody that comes up and says, how are you doing today? And looks and maybe doesn't even have the quid to chuck at that person. And they're not obviously going to chuck it, are they? There's a different way of delivering kindness to people. You might think it's a kindness to just chuck them that money. But if you haven't looked at them in the eye like a human, then you've actually kind of given them just a further kind of abuse. Like it's hard to be on the street. It's hard to be judged all the time for your position in the world, and because of some probably quite normal misfunction of the system that's got you there. So, yeah, it's how we do it now, always. Anyway, sorry about that. I just got a bit,
absolutely. Right on,
the provocation has worked. We've got people chatting. It's great.
The moral of the story is travel in packs.
Yeah,
Keep people with you.
definitely.
Don't go out alone.
Build a village.
Are you saying don't do your
I mean, no, like on the bus. On the bus, it's very easy to stand up when there's 6 of you. Just roll deeper. That's what I'm saying.
Lovely stuff. Roll deeper. And on that note, I think we should wrap up. Yeah?
Folks, can you give a huge, massive round of applause to the Lunatraktors?
Thank you.
You are
very much.
magical.
So just remind people, how much money can they give you to get your merch? You got T-shirts, you got badges.
In solidarity,
Tote
not
bag.
charity.
I think 1 tote bag for the lucky winner.
Oh,
Thank you so much. Please tell everyone where they can find you, where they can they can follow you, where they can get your merch.
You can find us on all those ridiculous social media things, but Lunatraktors is with a K. We have some bits here, and you can find us on Bandcamp or YouTube if you like weird DIY videos.
Stop using Spotify. Just stop. It's easy. Just don't. Just don't do it anymore.
Amazing. Give them another round of applause, please. Amazing. Thank you all so much for coming. Again, you can please follow the Vandal Factory podcast wherever you get your podcasts, and do. I know I keep saying it, but really, guys, really, if you all did it, it would double our listenership. I'm not joking. It means an awful lot when people listen. Let us know what you think, and hope to see you all again
we've got
soon.
patches and zines and bits and pieces. We hope you have a lovely Greenbelt Festival. I've been Henry Raby.
My name's Natalie Quatermass.
We are Vandal
Factory. Yeah. Podcast.